saw this man on a poster that says U.S. Uncle Sam, and he was pointing to the women saying, "We need you." And I thought he meant me, jokingly, you know. I said, "I'm going to join up."
I went to the post office the very next day and went in to the recruiting office. There, the sergeant told me they didn't know anything about women in the Army and hadn't heard anything about it. But he would ask the lieutenant. The lieutenant came out, and he wanted to know where I got my information. And, of course, I told him from Dr. Bethune. He had never heard of Dr. Bethune, of course. And I said, "But I know it. I have seen the papers. In Congress, I have seen those papers. So you have to give me the application." She told me to come and ask for them. And he said to me, "If you don't leave, you are creating a disturbance. I will have you arrested for disorderly conduct. So get out of here."
How I got him to sign for me was I put the dollar sign. I said, "You know how much money they're paying people just to go to school, Dad? You know, that means that you wouldn't have to give me an allowance every month. Maybe I could help out paying the electric bill or something." And that worked.
And I stood and I held my hand, my right hand up. "And you promise," and all of that, and you say your name. And I thought to myself, is this really what I want to do?
Here we were, not knowing, in these high heel shoes with the back out, trying to tiptoe through the snow.
So they usually had MPs guarding the gates. And as we drove up, this young, white, he looked like 18 or 19 years old, MP, looked into the car and he saw me and he saluted like this. And I went. And my father almost dropped dead. As he was driving the car, he said, "I can't believe this, I can't believe this." And he started crying. He said, "My daughter is being saluted by a white person."
I always said that no matter what ranks they make, if they made E-22s, I was going to be that too. So I became the first black female to make E-9 and to be the first female, black or white, to become a command sergeant major of a major installation, because I knew that I could do it. I may sound a bit conceited, but you know, I don't mind wagging my tail at all.
I think at that time, the majority of us knew there was a job to do, and we wanted to do it to the very best of our ability. And we knew there was work. When they came along in the 40s, in particularly, they had to deal with the separation of the troops and some of the difficulties that incurred for them. And just overcoming some of the stereotypes and some of the stigmas that were applied to those units just because they were black troops or women troops. I think that they had a difficult challenge to face. They had to work twice as hard for half the credit.
And it was the middle of the civil rights movement, Dr. King, and it was after the march in Washington and Malcolm X, and there was so much going on that I felt like I should be part of. Farmer from CORE, you know, all these people, to be young, gifted, and black, Nina Simone singing. I mean, how could you not, as a black person, not be involved? And here I'm going to go to Vietnam to some Asian people I don't know anything about, and for what reason? I didn't understand it all. So I used to drink then, so I got drunk. I went to Vietnam.
He sent information back to the headquarters that this particular, whoever wrote that disseminated that information, put it together, was credited with saving 101 lives. Okay. So when this was a big buzz at the headquarters and they knew I did it, and it turns out that the reason that he said they should get a Legion of Merit. The reason I didn't get the Legion of Merit, I found out through my grapevine was that I was black, whack, specialist, female, and I was in intelligence, which some people feel is an oxymoron, as you know. And it finally dawned on them, hey, this lady might know something. Okay? I came out of Vietnam with 3 Bronze Stars. Okay? I have 10 campaign stars for the Vietnam ribbon. And with all of that stuff that I have 13 medals, Cross of Gallantry, and with all that stuff, and 75 cents, I can go out and get a cup of coffee. A lot of women came back here feeling guilty that they were not, no, I was not in the boonies, but they stood there and people came in on a stretcher to the hospitals and nurses had to stand there. I have a friend called Lily, and Lily came back to the States and they wouldn't even let her hang an IV without permission. And over there, she used to amputate legs. She used to do everything that everybody else, that the doctors did. She'd took back down the hall and took him back on a gurney and say, baby, everything's gonna be all right. And she'd lie to him, you know. And it's still, they don't realize that women were in the middle of all that.
I think with history, it's a crime ever to lose any part of it. It's to be recalled and nurtured and used as a focus for future action by a race, by a community, or whomever, by an individual. Recalling the service of women, so few of us there were, as you really look back on it, and the experiences and the opening up of the Army, because now black majors are a dime a dozen. We got colonels, we got generals. So it was worth whatever the sacrifice you think you may have made as a white, that we be given and have that opportunity. You wouldn't have had it, couldn't have had it, if we had not started out, as Dr. Bethune said, to serve in 1942. We'd have been left out. Left out. It wouldn't even have been a page in history. So it's vital that whatever America is involved in, we are Americans. And I want to be involved.